This is Pro Series Off Topic.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Pro Series Off Topic, episode 18. Glad this is working. I just recorded 20 minutes of this episode and realized it did not record. I uploaded it onto iMovie, which software I use to upload the software and edit, and installed no sound waves and press play, and it was silent for 20 minutes. Fun. Hopefully I get through everything that I got through on the first time around. This episode is all about the 100th episode of the Pro Series. As you know, I posted the 100th episode this Tuesday or Monday, and that was with Jennifer from the Countertop Store by Vandura. They just opened up a new showroom. I recorded it in person last 2 Fridays ago at their grand opening in their room that actually I was honored to be part of the design process. So if you missed the post I put out on Thursday night, I believe, or Wednesday night, kind of show two parts of the showroom that I designed. I designed the reception desk and the conference room and the kind of the flooring in the entryway, which was a fun thing to do. It's beautiful work. Vandura's team is amazing. Their is amazing. They literally can do anything with True Res, which is a laminate product, to granite marble, decked in stainless steel, butcher block, everything, glass. The possibilities are endless. But yeah, so the 100th episode, and today I kind of wanted to talk about the whole history of Pro Series. You know, I've talked about it on other people's podcasts, but I've never talked about it on here, and I kind of want to talk about it. People always ask, like, how do you start a podcast? Podcasting is something that I actually had Mark's on 2 weeks ago on the Pro Series, and he's a podcasting coach, and he kind of says podcasting is great for business. It's what drives people to go to your social medias, your websites, calling you for leads, everything. It's something that has a bad rap in the past, 5 or 6 years, that everybody, starting a podcast. But if you stay consistent and not be one of those people that start the podcast and only do like 20 episodes and be done with it, you could get very far. I'll tell you some of my facts in the end of this episode on where I am with plays and downloads. I'm going to be pretty transparent with that. But I just want to get into it. So back in 2019, it was like the end of the summer, I knew I wanted to put more content out that was more educational. At that point, I was, kind of still early in my career for being a designer, wasn't getting the best leads. And it was also hard to get customers to agree to post photos on social media. So I was like running out of content to post. At that point, I was posting inspirational products, inspirational designs, tagging the companies, giving credit to the designers. And that's how I was kind of getting big in the beginning. And then I was like, what else do I do? So I came up with this idea to do Pro Series and kind of have different professionals in the Pittsburgh area and surrounding areas to educate homeowners on what's best to renovate their home and get the best bang out of their buck when they sell it with renovations. So it kind of started with professionals just sending me their facts or their ideas in video form, and I posted them. It literally had nothing to do with me on it. The only thing it had to do with me on it was I was asking them the questions, but you don't hear me on the video. It's literally I just sent them the questions. They make the video. I upload the video. That's about it. So the first 8 episodes of the Pro Series, I wasn't on. Fun fact. But I knew I did this for probably 8 to 10 months like that. And it wasn't consistent. It was probably like every other month or 2 a month, one every, and then a couple months go past, I post another one. So it was just like when I could get one. It was kind of a hard concept to sell on to some people. So like the first episode was Brian Tizier. He's a realtor here in Pittsburgh. And then I went to Austin Fox down in Florida. He's also been on the podcast twice. So it was kind of all over the place. So I think it was like episode 10, and it was like mid-summer of 2020. We all know what happened in 2020. And I'm like, design business is kind of down because we can't really do anything. And I don't have content to post. And I'm like, why don't I take this Pro Series concept and make it an interview form. And that thought came to me when I was actually messaging with Ward Schrader. He was going to do the Pro Series and just send over a couple facts and stuff, but he's on HGTV's Bargain Mansions with his daughter Tamara Day, it's actually now on Magnolia Network, but it was on HGTV at the time. And I messaged him the one day. I'm like, instead of doing that, would you just want to jump on a Zoom call and do like this interview process, kind of like a talk show type of deal? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And he had his assistant schedule it, and I sent over a list of questions, and we went up and recorded that probably in like July of 2020, I think. Released it in August 2020. And like I started high on that, HGTV person. And then the first like 6 or so episodes were HGTV people or big time NKBA people. And it was a hard sale to try to sell to someone to be on this Pro Series, because it wasn't a podcast. It was just literally an episode. That was back when Instagram still had IGTV, and I posted the full entire episode on Instagram. So 45 minutes, hour, whatever it was fully on Instagram. And then I did that for probably a year and a half, and I was only posting like every other month or so, just when I could get them, because a lot of people would either say no, they just weren't comfortable on camera, which I'm not selling anybody out here, but like it just doesn't make sense. If you're an influencer on social media and you're not comfortable on camera, like that's just a bad excuse, in my opinion. I'd rather you just say, I can't do it, or you're not big enough for me, or I would much rather you say that I'm not comfortable on camera when you are trying to sell, clothing, or it just, I could get off on this. It just doesn't make sense to me. But I had a lot of people that said yes, and I was grateful for that. And there's some people that said no, and they were very apologetic to it, and I totally understood it. And I still talk to those people today, and they're great people, and I would never say anything bad about them. They were so nice about it, and I respect that. If you don't want to do it, just tell me. That's all. You're not hurting my feelings. But in fall of 2021, I think it was like mid-November, I kept getting people saying, "Oh, I love your podcast. I love your podcast." And I'm like, it's not a podcast. It's literally just a post that I put on Instagram. And it got to the point where I'm like, isn't it a podcast? It's the same platform of a podcast. I'm a big podcast listener, and it is pretty much a podcast. Just take away the video format of it and just upload it onto a podcasting network, and you're golden. And so I'm like, yes, I'm going to put this in as a podcast form, but I can't just post every other month. That's no way to get a loyal follower base or a listener base. And I've always been very adamant about staying consistent. So I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to stay consistent. So I debated it for weeks. I've worked multiple jobs and everything. I'm like, can I release on a consistent basis on doing this platform and make it into a podcast? So it was at the point where I'm like, yes, I could do it, but I need to talk to someone about podcasting and figure out what podcasting is, how I could get it to all these podcasting networks. So I reached out. I totally forget who the name of it was. A guy at Pod World, and he gave me so much information on, the technology into it, the products that I need to use to make the podcast, shooting it, putting it on YouTube and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, how do I upload it to Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all this stuff? And he's like, you know what? I have a contact at Spotify. Let's talk to her, and she'll get good. So I talked to this lady at Spotify, which was awesome. She was so nice. She got me really set up on Anchor at the time, which was a podcasting host site that Spotify bought, which allowed you to literally shoot the video on Zoom, edit it, upload that video onto Anchor, and it had the ability to go straight to Spotify, and then you could add on any other podcasting network. So I had to apply for Apple Podcasting, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Google, Amazon, all those, wherever I wanted the podcast to be seen. So I applied to literally everyone, got accepted to all of them. You basically take that link once you're accepted, put it into Anchor. So anytime you upload an episode onto Anchor, it went and was distributed to all of those podcasting platforms. So it was able to be seen and heard on all these podcasting platforms. So Anchor was really just like made it super, super simple. It allowed me to still post consistently and do it and make it fun. And now it's not called Anchor, it's called Spotify for podcasters, now that Spotify owns it. Still the same type of platform. It does the same exact stuff. But it makes it super easy. So if you want to go into podcasting, definitely look up Spotify for podcasters. It makes it super, super easy. And so January of 2021, when I decided, I'm like, you know what, I need to put like 5 or 6 podcasts in my back pocket, because working multiple jobs, I'm never consistent on my schedule. So I'm like, you know what, I don't want to go a week without doing it. So I'm going to get ready. I recorded probably like 10 episodes in that December of 2021. And I did that. The cover art that's actually on my podcast, I did all by myself on Canva. I'm a very big Canva user. I did that all on Canva. It was literally just in my basement. I took a chair that I already have, and I bought a black tablecloth at the dollar store, put it up as like a backdrop, and that was kind of used as the green screen. Took the picture and uploaded it to Canva. Because I put the black thing in the background, that's why I put the black thing in the background. Canva will take away your whole entire background and add whatever you want. And that's kind of when I put this like architectural white and black type of design that I use for all my Pro Series stuff. But yeah, that was all made in Canva. Canva has endless possibilities. But that was all done. So January 1st of 2022, I was up and running. I think I was like on episode 17 at the time. So I already had 18 or 17 episodes already recorded that were on the IGTV that I uploaded on the Spotify. So all 100 episodes were on, or all 17 to 18 episodes were already on YouTube and podcast form as well. But as I go on and have guests, I always ask for advice. A lot of these people are very, very experienced podcasters, or they're experienced HGTV hosts, or part of that type of world. So I'm always asking for advice. I always like to take in as much advice as I can, because I don't know what I'm doing. And a lot of these guests say they don't know what they're doing, but they're better than me. So I take in everything. And one thing that stood out to me was an episode, I can't remember what number it was, but it was Justin Colby. He's an avid podcaster. I think he releases multiple episodes a week, and he told me, big piece of advice to grow a podcast is putting out more than one episode a week. And at that time, I'm like, I just decided I could do one podcast a week. I cannot do multiple. And he's like, yes, it sounds haunting, but like, if you want to grow, do more than one. So I always kept that in the back of my mind. I wanted to get this under my belt, do so once a week, to figure out if I could actually do 2 a week. So all throughout 2022, I did 1 a week. And then April of 2023, I announced Pro Series Off Topic. Back in February 2023, that was when the idea kind of landed on. I kind of designed that logo of Pro Series Off Topic. And it all was stemmed from all these podcasts I listened to. I listened to a bunch of Barstool podcasts, the Bobby Bones Show, Love Country Talk with Chuck, all these podcasts that are just kind of talking about everything. And I'm like, I want to do that, because Pro Series is just an interview base, and I want to do something that's just me. Which, if you told me in 2020 that I wanted to do a podcast just me talking in a microphone, I would say no, because that's the reason why the Pro Series started, that I was not in it. I was not comfortable seeing myself or hearing myself, and I kind of swallowed that in 2020 to do the interview with Ward, and thank God I did, because it made me more confident in doing this. And I think I get better and better. I don't listen back, but I feel myself getting better and better, and people were saying that. So It's all that matters to me, that I'm just bettering myself one episode at a time. And off topic, I talk about everything. I know I'm a huge country music fan. I've always posted about country music. A lot of my reels have country music in them. So I always wanted to end the off topic with, the Mediabase chart or new music that I'm listening to. And funny enough, once I started to do that, it's just a lot of people message me. I think I get more messages about country music than I do about design or social media, which is crazy because that's, social media and interior design are like my main topics on my social media platform. So it's fun to relate in a different way other than just design and social media. So this is episode 18 and I do it every week. This is something I do record every week because, new country music and the Mediabase chart changes per week. So I have to record it once a week, but they're very quick, easy episodes that I love to do. I will probably have guests at some point. There's a couple of work in the works, but I'm fine with it just talking about it, talking about country music, talking about whatever topic, off topic that I get. Some people message me and say, hey, can you talk about this? I need advice for this. And I'll just save it for the off topic instead of just posting it. And that's how the Pro Series kind of went about. I'm 100 episodes in. When I announced off topic, I was about 30,000 plays / downloads. Anchor shows it as plays / downloads. They don't separate them. So that's why when I say that, that's what I'm taking it from. I don't know where else to get the downloads stats from. But right now, so it was 30,000 when I announced off topic back in April. And I'm almost at 60,000. So it has doubled in, 4 or 5 months, which has been crazy. It's sometimes weird because, I post these episodes just kind of as a fun hobby to do. And then I upload it thinking, will anybody listen to it? And then I look at the stats and I'm like, oh my God, I messed up in this. And people, that many people have heard me mess up. And it's just so funny. But that's the whole story on the Pro Series. It's pretty simple. I love podcasting. It's been such a fun ride to go on, and it's gotten me so many new friends and has networked in crazy ways. I have friends all around the world. I've met some amazing people. And we, it's to the point where a lot of these guests are other podcasters. We share each other's guests. It's just insane. And we share each other's guests. But another thing I want to talk about is how I get my guests. Most of the time, I'm just messaging them. But in the past, probably 8 months, I've been getting a lot of managers or talent agents emailing me, inquiring about their clients that are wanting to grow on, get their CEO, their SEOs up and all that stuff. So I get a lot of that lately. People just reach out to me and they're like, oh, I'd be a great person. Or they're like, oh, my boss would be great for this. Can you reach out to him? That's where it mostly comes from. That's how a lot of the time I get those HGTV people. And a lot of the time I'm already friends with them. So I'm like, I just message them like, hey, would you want to do this? And they're like, yes. And also they're all connected. So sometimes I'll just be like, oh, I had so much fun doing this. I'm going to refer my friend that they're going to reach out to, and they're messaging me the next day. They're like, I want to be on your podcast type of deal. I'm not a huge podcast at all, but I think people like having a very casual conversation instead of having a robotic, like news anchory type of conversation, because it's just me and them on a Zoom call, or now I use Riverside for podcasting. And it's just simple. It's fun. It's not stressful. And there's so many times I record an episode and they're like, right before we record, they're like, I'm so nervous. I'm like, there's no need to be nervous. And then as the episode goes on, they're like, oh, why was I even nervous? This is just like literally a conversation that we're just recording. And that's what I want it to be. I want it to be very casual, and you'll hear that in the recordings as well. I don't edit that much. If they need me to edit it a lot out, like if one of the networks need me to edit it out due to something the person said and they don't want it to be released yet or whatever, I'll do that. But for the most part, if it's my mistake, I keep it in. First off, it's a lot of work to edit an episode. I'm editing 2 episodes a week, which is a lot. So I just kind of keep it simple, keep it going, and I think that's what people like the most. But that's my whole pro series and pro series off topic. It's been a fun ride. It's 100 episodes in, and we are still going strong, and we still are going to keep going. But now I want to get into country music this week. A new song came out from Charlie Horsham. He's a newer country artist on the Media Base stream, and he is released a song with Luke Combs called "How I Learned to Pray." Great song, definitely go check that out. Dolly Parton came out with another song off of her Rockstar album that's coming out this fall, "Let It Be" with Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr. My favorite this week is "Cabin," a solo by Scotty McCreery. We talked about Scotty a couple months ago after the Brooks and Dunn concert when he opened up for them, and I was kind of talking about him and that he's just a very underrated country artist. He has some amazing hits, and this song's great. Just definitely go check it out. Chris Lane came out with another song called "Find Another Bar." Pretty decent song. I like Chris Lane. I follow him on social media. I like his voice and stuff, and I just don't think some of his songs he picks are the best options, but I hope nothing but the best for him. And this last song that I'm posting or talk about this week, he was a guest on the Bobby Bones show, I think Friday. His name's Warren Zider. He performed this song, so that's why I'm talking about it, because it's been nonstop playing on my phone, and it's called "Pretty Little Poison." Definitely go check that out. It is such a good song. He's a really, really strong, raspy voice, which is really, really cool to hear. Definitely go check him out. This song is not new. It came out back in March, but it's such a great song. He just came out with his album called "Pretty Little Poison" that just came out on the 18th. So definitely go check that out. I can't wait to listen to the whole entire album. I only listened to a couple songs. But he's a country artist that's been around for a couple years. He kind of talked about on the Bobby Bones show about how he figured out the algorithm of Instagram. He's actually really big on Instagram if you want to go check him out. But that's all I have for new music this week. But let's get into the Media Base chart. This is the first time since recording Off Topics that Morgan Wallen is not in the top 10 of the Media Base chart. He is coming in at 14 with "Everything I Love," which, he'll be in the top 10 in, a matter of weeks. But it's just kind of funny. We talk about it every week that he's at least in the top 10 or the top 5 for the past 4 or 5 months. But this week, number 5 is Thomas Rhett with "Angels." Number 4, again, is John Party, "Your Heart or Mine." Number 3, again, is Kane Brown, "Bury Me in Georgia," Luke Combs. Number 2, again, is "Love You Anyway." And number 1 song of the week, again, is Jelly Roll, "Need a Favor." The top 4 hasn't changed, which is crazy, but there is another female in the top 10. That's Lainey Wilson, "Watermelon Moonshine." That song has gone up the charts so fast. It seems like she just had her last song on there, and then she's had a couple duets this year, and she's just killing it. So that's going to be a future number 1. It's such a great summer ballad. If you haven't heard that, I don't know where you've been, but definitely go check that out. But that's all I have this week for Pro Series Off Topic. Hope you learned about the Pro Series. It is a continuation, and it will never, for right now, not stop. It's a fun hobby that I have going on, and I'm learning so much from all these other people and gaining friendships and networking with some great people. Next week on the Pro Series that will be coming out on Tuesday, I believe, is with a realtor here in Pittsburgh. His name's Stephen Gregory. We shot it live or in person in his brokerage. We talk about sports and the importance it has on entrepreneurial and your growth into hood. He played hockey back in the day. He talks about that. We talk about real estate. It was a great conversation that we had. We recorded it back in probably like the first week of July, I think. That just gives you an inkling on how much in advance I do these Pro Series episodes. But hope you enjoyed this. If you have not yet, look at my latest post on the designs from the countertop store by Vanjura that I was a part of, the reception desk and the closing room. It was fun to do, and I love the outcome of it. It was such a beautiful entryway of this beautiful new showroom. Go check that out. And I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday, and we'll talk next week.